Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure being here in front of all of you guys and to speak at the Dubai Future Forum. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here.
Your Excellency.
I think today is a very big day, not just for the Dubai Future Forum. I think that Dubai itself is having a fantastic week with the Air Show, with the Dubai Watch Week, with the Dubai Future Forum. So many things happening across 1 week. And we also have an important thing that was just announced recently, which is Agent Pay. Dubai is the first place in the world in which Mastercard announced a new feature. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Right. So this morning we unveiled here in Dubai the first agentic commerce transaction done in the world. So this is a big deal, but you're wondering, like, what am I talking about? So imagine this. You go and do a bit of online shopping, and you would go to the search platform of your choice, and it guides you to a merchant website, and you buy and you check out with your card on file, preferably a Mastercard, and that is it. So where is search behavior going as people look for more quality in recommendations? So they go to a agentic AI-enabled chatbot. It could be one of the LLMs, or it could be a merchant, very specific generated chatbot. And you ask it about your movie choices for the weekend, and the chatbot knows from your chat history what your preferences are. And it appears on your screen, and then what do you have to do today? You go back to your search engine, you go back to the merchant, you look for the tickets, and you have the recommendation. It takes you another 15 minutes. Or if you book a trip, it could be hours if you were booking a trip. Imagine all this is done out of the chatbot in the instance, and your card on file information, your shopping preferences are all there, and you just check out. And that's exactly what we did this morning with Majid Al Futtaim, a leader in retail and commerce here in the region. And together, we had this transaction appear on our screen. It was a live demo, so the minister and me, we were sitting with bated breath. Is it going to work? But because it's in Dubai, of course it did work, and it worked perfectly. So we bought 2 tickets to a movie through the Majid Al Futtaim voice assistant.
A horror movie.
Just a horror movie, yes.
That's how stressed they were.
Well, to just add some excitement, because such a transaction appears so natural. But if you think about it from a consumer perspective, it's much easier. If you think about it from a perspective of powering a digital economy in a country like the UAE, a lot of things need to happen in the background to make it safe, to make it secure, to make it intuitive. So all the complexity is behind. When AI starts to make decisions on your behalf for shopping, wow, that can be very scary. So we got to put in the controls, and all of that is what Mastercard Agent Pay has done. So this is, I wouldn't quite compare it to the landing on the moon, but from an applied AI in our lives, this is going to be one of the use cases that we most feel in the years to come.
During the launch, we spoke about why Dubai and why the UAE. And one of the things that stood out to me was all the great moments that have ever happened in history happened in places that were optimistic about the future, happened in places that embraced what the future stands for and saw it with this sense of excitement. And the UAE represents that, and Dubai represents that as well. Before dwelling too much on the exciting part of AI and what it means, and I personally must say I saw that transaction and I found it extremely seamless. It's very, very convenient. And it's like having the best personal assistant that can do everything for you. Select the movie, get your best seats, find the best timing, the closest location to you, and also make the payment without many instructions. And that's probably why it stood out. But let's talk a little bit about what the challenges that you see and the opportunities that you see in that world are going to be. So for those that are in this room, people who want to have foresight and see the future, what do you think the biggest opportunities that we need to grasp when it comes to AI are going to be? And what are challenges that we need to be careful of?
Right. Mr. I just want to make a comment on your point about why the UAE. So I lived in this region for a decade. And I've always seen a country where the boundaries are pushed out. There's a positive view on how the future can be shaped. So it's pretty clear that something as fundamental as what I just talked about that changes shopping behaviors around the world, we should try it here first. And there is no question on, on behalf of the government here or Majid Al Futtaim that we should try that. Part of the risk around the application and growth of foundational technology like artificial intelligence is that there are too many people and too many entities that have interest in the current ecosystem and would not open their minds to the benefit of applying a different model and seeing paths to prosperity for everybody, but saying we just hold on, we like how it is. And that is what we don't see here in the UAE, and that is the positive. Let's go and try it with that aspect. I think one of the things to consider really when it comes to AI, so AI in itself doesn't actually do anything. AI will do something in a combination with data, with structured data. So if you have a country that invests, like you do here, in how the data of your entities, of government, of the citizens can be put to good use to drive better standards of living here and in the neighboring region, I think that what makes the difference. And I think that's where we need to be very careful. You lean in on that, positive, but if you have parts of the world where there is not structured data available, then you will get to a potential world of an uneven playing field where there is the digital haves and the digital haves not. So I think that's the one thing to be cautious about and make sure we invest as we look in the wider region, as we look around the world in emerging markets, where the data maybe is not structured. So I'm concerned about that. I'm not concerned that AI will drive paths to prosperity and growth and solve problems that we haven't solved as humanity. Just think about the climate crisis and how AI will use the data that the planet gives us to make sure that we address the problems that are out there. So many things to be excited about. Right now in this moment, I'm excited about agentic commerce though.
I was expecting you to say something like the biggest fear any parent has is giving their credit card to a child that is hooked on their iPad.
Right.
Because the bills end up coming constantly on all these games and these purchases they make.
Well, we can talk about that.
Will these agents start making purchases because they think you'd like something, and you'd suddenly figure out that you didn't order all this stuff? So
you bring up a very, very important point. So let's just say AI appears in our worlds in everyday shopping or many other aspects of our lives. The question of safety, security, and trust is hugely important. So in an agentic transaction, is it your kid that should ideally not do this transaction? Or is it even you? Or is the agent, the AI-enabled agent, actually a real agent? Or is it a fraudster that set up a fake agent? What happens if something goes wrong in the world of an AI-generated transaction is what do you do as a consumer if you say, I never intended to do this transaction? So we have to build in the safeguards, we have to build in the controls, and that is what our business does for a living. That's what regulators look about. I think it's really important, and this comes right back to the UAE, you strike the balance. There's the promise of the technology. If you regulate the foundational technology too early, you don't know where the world is going to go. You throttle the potential for growth and upside. So I think striking that balance is really important. I live in the United States, and there we see a thriving ecosystem that is open to trying things out and then regulate use cases when they happen, just to protect consumers and make that happen. And I think that's the kind of balance I see here as well, and that's hugely important. But we have to put the controls in, because if you have people, back to the digital haves and digital have-nots, if there's somebody in an emerging economy that tries a digital transaction for the first time or for the second time or the 10th time and they're defrauded, they will not trust. They will not use AI-empowered solutions. Therefore, they forego the promise in their nation, in their city, in their context that they live. So I think putting in the safety is important, but not by preventing us from benefiting from all the upside.
There's a way of thinking here that is probably our secret as a country. And in most countries, when you go and meet with the government leader, and I learned this actually by being in close proximity to leadership, when you ask that you want to do something, so we want to launch AI or agent pay as a service in the UAE, the response you get from leadership in those countries is why? Why do you want to do it? And the way that things are approached here is it's not why, it's why not. So when I come to science and I say, we're thinking of doing this, and he says, why not? Why wouldn't we do it? Let's try to actually pilot it. Let's have it in a controlled environment. Right. Let's see how it works, and then let's go beyond that. So I think it's just that small switch of mindset from saying, why do we need to do this, to why not do this, and what are the things that are going to be benefited from it.
And I believe the why not piece is in the context of the belief that it can be always a better future.
Yeah.
Let's constantly reimagine the future. So why not try it? Because how are you ever going to get to that next step? And I find it's the fundamental mentality in this part of the world, very refreshing and really critical, because we have many more tools at our disposal today. So if we don't try them out, if we don't ask the why not question, shame on us.
So Michael, you've been in the UAE for a decade. You've gone from starting in a world-leading organization to reaching to the top and the helm of it. If you were to start over again as a young man that has just graduated from university, based on what you're seeing with artificial intelligence, based on what you're seeing from all the shifts that we see around us, what would you do differently this time around?
But I think we make these life decisions always in the context of the times that we lived in. And to be very honest, when I studied, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I just studied economics because my dad did, so that was probably not what I would repeat. Because right now, I think you have to be much more purposeful. There's so many shifts in our lives, and I think for us in a world where many everyday activities will be commoditized and potentially be done by an AI agent of some sort. I think having an early view on, in that kind of a world, what is your added benefit? What is an activity that you can excel in that, imagine the future 3 years out and 5 years out, what will the world look like? So that puts a lot of onus on our educational system to actually help students think through what that is. And I think the leading universities in the world, my son is 19, he's at a US university, and they are talking to their students about how an AI-powered world would look like and how they should build their skills in that world. Which today, probably the worst suggestion you can make is become a software engineer, because that is just very yesterday. That will be all done by AI. But what are the things that only really humans can do? And think about that with that lens in your mind. I think that's really important. I was talking to a bunch of young colleagues at Mastercard Thursday back in New York. And I got the very same question, and it was like, sharpen your distinct proposition to an employer right now with those technologies in mind. And then people come up and say, all right, I'm going to be in the communications field, because there's certain automation levels that you can do, but really the nuance of a interhuman conversation as we're having it right now, you will start to get to the limits of this, but you can start to train models and do that in a very different way. So I think really having a view on the world 3 to 5 years out and see how you can make a difference, and is not with generally the basic propositions that the education system has offered when I went.
One of the fascinating things that I saw on the launch of Agent Pay is you guys said that 1/5 of global transactions today happen through agents.
Right.
And it just shows you something as simple as going online and shopping is now being outsourced to artificial intelligence. As you said, I think we can't take it for granted. These tools are going to be used for many things in our lives. Right. And understanding how to wield them, how to use them, how to benefit from them is going to be key. Thank you for your time, Michael, and this was a great conversation.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you.